about, so with with the slobs, like you like to call them, which I love that. What's a true metric? So I think that a lot of people probably think that in their inventory they got these slow moving things and like we don't need this stuff. But what's a good metric that someone kind of, now that they dealt with an actual availability crisis on their hands, what do they do to measure sort of where their true slobs are in their inventory? What should they be looking at?
Yeah, yeah. So, look, I think it really is important to look at your slow moving and potentially obsolete inventory. So, slow moving inventory will pretty much present itself with very few sales yeah, over a period. So now that doesn't mean that it's not still an active product. It just means you don't sell it very much. So you have to manage that. So you've got a couple of choices to manage slow moving inventory. You might just simply buy it to order. You might just go, look, you know what, I'm not going to stock that. When someone orders it, they just wait for a week and I'll order it from the supplier and get it in and ship it to them. Perfectly legitimate strategy, because it just isn't worth having it sitting on your shelf going dusty. So you measure that simply by looking at the sales rate of that product, right? And then you make some key decisions about, yes, I need to have it so that it's available because it's a critical part of my service. And so that really is a service choice. Now, for the obsolete inventory, that's stuff that hasn't sold at all. And particularly, so if you have something that hasn't sold within, say, a 3-month period, that's certainly an initial alarm bell. If it hasn't sold in the past 6 months, that's, that definitely should be raising more alarm bells. If it hasn't sold in the last year, then it's probably no one wants it and probably no one ever will. I certainly knew of one business that had a fairly honest accounting approach, and any inventory that had been sitting for 2 years, they simply wrote off the balance sheet. But there would be businesses sitting around with millions of dollars worth of obsolete inventory on their balance sheet and clogging up their warehouse that that's simply never going to sell. And they're just going, well, I've got it. Doesn't expire. It might be a physical product that doesn't age, but that doesn't mean that the demand is ever going to come back for that product. And I think you need to be honest. So when things start to age out, so if you've got something, no sales in 3 months, time to promote it, time to start looking at sort of other alternatives before that gets way too old, right? Now, it's different in different industries, and there would be some industries where maybe things that sell, 4 times a year, and so a 3-month no sale might be normal, right? So there's certainly, there are always just in case kind of supply chains where you've got a spare part on the shelf and you have to have it. So there are legitimate reasons where you actually need to have that. But in a normal kind of, certainly a retail orientated business, if something hasn't sold for 3 months, you should be looking at how you're going to start moving that product along.